but the other 5 in that session are all opening with very similar numbers. Now we go down, we'll see other flags that we haven't seen before. I think this will be the first time that we've seen a Danish flag up on the board with William Holm lifting from Europe. So we'll see, and again, that session is going to be a real mixed bag. There's a really wide variable between the opening of the lightest and the Nauruan athlete with the Japanese athlete opening at almost an A-list number.
Yep, so we're just a few seconds away here from the athletes being introduced. We see them gathering out the back here. So what's going through the athletes' minds at this stage as they prepare to come out onto the platform here?
Well, this will be their first opportunity to come out and be on the platform, get a feel for the noise, get a feel for the look from the platform. Some of them will sneak out early and come take a look and see just exactly what things look like before they get a chance to come out. And but for the most part, this will be their first chance to come out and see the crowd with all the lights on, their flags up in the air, the scoreboard and everything running, and kind of look for their focus for where they want when the competition begins with the lifting.
And of course we'll have a bit of a highlight here with the local crowd here. We've got school children in from local Fiji schools, and they've got a Fijian lifter to look forward to later on. Timothy Vakaravali.
Representing Poland, Patrick Bibon. Representing Samoa, Jack Apollonia.
The first of our athletes from Samoa we've seen in this competition.
And the Opalonge family has it.
Representing Korea, Kang Min-woo. In the 89 kilo class, representing Japan, Nishida Yu. Representing Denmark, Christian Holm. Representing Nauru, Masinsi Cook. Representing Fiji, Timothy Vakaravali. And representing the US of A, William Easley.
I saw I believe it was in the paper that they're going for the team gold.
It's underway in the snatch portion of the competition.
I wonder how the Denmark cooperation worked out. Do you think they contacted each other beforehand, or do you think the athlete was just in the back room going, help? Because that does happen as well.
Yeah, I guess. He's a big, tall lad, this guy, isn't he?
Yeah, for this weight category, he's a tall man.
Well, and he's away with a successful lift to begin with.
A good beginning at 91 kilos. I would expect that over the years we will see him as he progresses from junior to senior to changing weight categories.
Oh, it's inconceivable that he would remain in the 81 kilo categories, isn't it, at this stage?
At that height. I'm not sure just exactly how tall he is, but he's definitely taller than anybody we've seen to date.
Yeah.
And that means, you know, you still have to have the strength, but his levers are going to be grabbing the bar in a different place. He's going to be reaching closer to the collars, especially in the snatch, than the other athletes. So you'll see a slightly different dynamic as we get heavier and taller.
So it's a big jump from the 73 to the 81 kilo category in the men's. And even within this category, he's one of the lighter athletes, weighing at 79.4 kilos. So you would certainly expect that Fedowski's got a fair bit of growing to do over the journey. He's only just turned 18. His birthday was on June 2, so happy birthday as well.
Oh, again, did we get a card?
No, I missed the invitation to the party, but I'm assuming he was probably fairly low-key, just the dozen vodkas.
In this case, maybe he kept the cake all to himself so that he could make sure that he made weight.
He might have needed to. Looks pretty relaxed there as he prepares for his next lift. We might be able to have a look at his last lift from front on with the replay there, just to see how he got through that. There we go. Locks those arms nicely, a bit wobbly in the knees.
Yeah, but you can see he's outside the knurling. He's pretty close to the outside edge of the bar there. And solid all the way through, nothing to it.
Yeah. I guess with such long arms, he's got to try and get as wide a grip as he can just to shorten that distance, hasn't he?
Yeah, the wider you go, the shorter the distance that you've got to make on the snatch, but also the wider the grip, there's perils attached to that as well, obviously.
Okay, so the young man from Kosovo, Fedeovski. His second lift in the men's 81 kilogram Group B snatch. First attempt at 95 kilos. No, so a no lift there.
He's cool as a cucumber. Made lift, no big deal. Missed lift, didn't seem to bother him that much. He seems to be that he's just, he's enjoying, I think maybe he's enjoying being here, maybe enjoying the opportunity. A little nod to the crowd after the miss.
He's moved up from the old 77 kilogram category.
Doctor having a quick talk with him. Maybe there's a, looks like he's checking his calluses.
I mean, even that lift at 91 kilos, that's 9 kilos better than he lifted at last year's European Junior Championships. That was in the 77 kilo class. So he's put on a little bit of weight, gone up into the new 81 kilo class, but he's also added a bit of weight to the bar, which is good. He's heading in the right direction.
Exactly. There's nothing bad that can come from adding weight to the bar, no matter which way you go on your weight. So now this time he's calling 95 once again for his third. And again, a little bit of a prep talk from the Danish coach.
And we can see quite a lot of movement with these youth and junior athletes, but between the European Youth Championships in 2017 and now, he's 22 kilos up on his snatch. So he's making progress, and he's obviously getting bigger and developing, as many of these athletes do.
And he's had plenty of international experience. This is not his first time getting onto a plane to lift at a big event.
So Fedeovski, men's 81 kilogram Group B, 95 kilograms on the bar. His third and final attempt in the snatch.
Again, completely unaffected. Good lift, no lift. Well done, very well done. But
and he showed a lot of patience really there, because he had really kind of struggled to find his centre at the bottom there, didn't he?
You know what, he did, but he didn't. He did. I agree that he took his time, but he wasn't exactly wavering. He was pretty close to exactly where he was going to be. Even from there, you could tell not much is going to change between that and when he stands up.
It's a slight drop back of the hips there, and then he was up very smooth.
He just wanted to make sure that it was the right spot, and it turned out it was.
Yeah, no, he was good. So he is done for the snatch competition. We'll move up substantially now, up to Cook, who will open at 103 kilos. But on the strength of the international records that we've got, Fedeovski's got to be well pleased with that. That's a 95 kilo snatch. Probably a PB at international level. So
I don't know a lot about geography, but is Nauru now part of Fiji? Because this crowd is embracing Cook.
Yeah, Nauru's very close, and they probably share a fair bit of kindred spirit when it comes to weightlifting. Both have very long traditions of weightlifting. So Cook, 103 kilos, the men's 81 kilogram Group B. That looks very easy. He's in fact the first of our lifters in the 89 kilo category.
And a quick motion after that to indicate to the crowd that that he's one of the athletes that wants a little quieter when he's trying to concentrate. So he set that bar and he set that stage for his future lifts.
So the lift is still with Cook with the automatic increase of 1 kilo to 104 kilograms, but we suspect that he won't attempt that. He'll probably add a little bit of weight to the bar there. And it's going to be the Fijian athlete will end. So Cook's moved up to 110 kilos.
I'm sorry, were you speaking?
And the stadium's gone wild here for Timothy Vakaruvalu from Fiji.
He hasn't even appeared yet. They're still loading the bar and they're making this much noise.
19-year-old. Like a rock star.
He is. I don't think he's buying his own dinner tonight.
No. So Vakaruvalu from Fiji, the 18-year-old. Huge favourite with the crowd here, understandably.
And again, a tall athlete. You see he's going straight to the collars for his snap.
Big, tall, strong and successful.
That is definitely a good lift. Wow, that was impressive. I'm impressed with his lifting, but I'm also impressed with the noise level.
Yeah.
And it was very quiet when he's going to go to take his pull, which is great. Catches it in the right spot. Doesn't even hesitate to stand up because he knows it's where he needs it to be. And just a confident drop of the bar and heading back so that he can get ready for the next one.
I think that's going to help him getting that out of the way. I don't know how you felt about how it came out, but he looked just a little nervous, a little overwhelmed by the sheer volume here.
How could he not be?
Understandably.
You know, this is an enthusiastic home crowd. Now Cook was very strong in his first. Didn't take as much of a drop on the as he needed to. He kind of kept the mix between power and a full snatch. But again, he's just a youth athlete. He's definitely 2002 is his birth year, so he's young.
Yeah, he looks very strong.
Yeah, a little lower this time. Just needed to go a little lower, but he's regulating that very well. And let's see what I have not seen the lights yet.
No, neither have I. So maybe there's some dispute there. I didn't notice anything with the lift to the naked eye, but
I saw the referees have gone to their flags as an alternative. They've got 3. I saw at least 2 white flags, so that will be turning out to be a good lift.
Okay, so maybe we've just got an issue with the scoreboard here.
It could well be technology, but we know what happened.
We can
with
see the
lift.
lift again here from the front.
Quick, sticking the tongue out there because he knew he had it where he wanted it.
I can't see anything wrong with that. Can you?
Absolutely not.
No. So we think that's just a technology issue. But Cook successful at his second lift there. We're still waiting for that to be confirmed, but we think he's successful at his second lift there.
I saw that
110 kilos.
The alternative for the referees, if the technology is not working, is to go to flags. I saw at least 2 white flags, so that would indicate a good lift, unless that for some reason the jury decided that they wanted to have another look at it from a different perspective, or they saw something. But the referees have ruled that it is definitely a good lift.
Yeah, well, that was clear that the 2 referees in front here, 2 of them at least had their white flags up. There we go. We're back on.
There you go.
Back online. So 3 white lights.
So
and we'll have to see what Cook does now. Lift will be with him unless he moves up to 115 kilos, which will pass the lift to Vakarovale of Fiji.
And boom, there it happened. He's moved up, so Vakaru value of Fiji is now. This is the advantage of having a home game.
Yeah. Well, he coped with the pressure very well with his first lift, executed that very efficiently. Takes a deep breath. PG weightlifting coach Henry Older following him out. And the stadium erupts.
But once he gets there, once he gets over the bar, the stadium just hushes right down. You hear a couple of yells, but it's more of a coaching yell, you know, make sure you're solid, make sure that people giving him, coaching and friends giving tips, not just white noise.
Vakaru Avalu, 115 kilos, second attempt in the snatch. Crowd erupts, very happy with that. So 2 from 2 for the Fijian.
I was looking around and there was many people sitting, but there was many people that chose that opportunity to stand up and jump around and cheer for their local favorite.
So nice bounce off the hips, good trajectory there.
Yep, didn't even hesitate to stand up. He knew based on the last one, he knew he exactly had it where he wanted it.
Yeah, he had a very good position, didn't he? So looks like we might see the youth athlete, the under youth athlete, which is the Nauruan.
And again, he's looked very strong for his first 2 attempts. Caught it where he wanted. Didn't go down as much as many of the other athletes do in their full snatch, but didn't need to. He is so strong.
Yep, so only 17 years old, Cook from Nauru. This is his 3rd and final lift in the snatch. He's in the men's 89 kilogram group B, 115 kilos on the bar. I sense a personal best there, maybe.
I can sense joy, if nothing else. And again, it looks like we're having a technology issue. All 3 referees raising their alternative form of indication for the good lift. All 3 white flags coming up this time. And there you go. Now it's up on the scoreboard.
Yep. So we're obviously having a few technical problems with that. So I apologise if there's a slight delay with us confirming whether the lift is legal, but we will use the analog technology of the white flags when they go up, because we can see the referees. They're positioned right in front of the platform, the lifters. So we now have the American athlete stepping up onto the platform, William Easley, and he'll make his first attempt in the snatch at 118 kilos. He's another one of our lifters in the 89 kilo category, the Group B competition here.
Wow. A little bit of a duck walk almost.
Yeah, I'm yet to see an athlete recover from the duck walk, so he's done very well there.
I've seen it a couple of times. It's not easy, let me tell you. But I've seen it a couple of times at some different events. But yeah, takes that big step. But as long as everything stays stable up top with the elbows, your feet and knees can go wherever they need to go for him to have a good lift.
Yeah, well, the good thing from his point of view is I guess he got the bar up to that high point quite quickly, and he was able to get under it, even though the leg kind of went out to the side, wasn't it?
Not the most orthodox way to do it, but
no.
He was successful. You will notice that Easley was expected to open at 120, and for whatever reason, their coaches brought him down 2 kilos before they sent him out for the first attempt.
Which is unusual for the Americans, isn't it? Because they have been consistently, up until today, the entry weight that they posted, they've upped before their athletes entered the competition. But both in the women's section this morning, where Thornton actually started at the nominated weight of 98 kilos and lifted very well. And here we see easily starting actually below his originally nominated weight. So different stories for different athletes.
And the coaching staff in the back is consistent with the Americans. They have their two head coaches, Mike Catone and Piros Dimas, the Olympic legend. But each athlete, well, not each, but many of the athletes will bring their personal coach as well. So Jimmy Duke III is back there with them as well. So you've got the best of all worlds, where you've got the best coaches from your country, plus the one coach who knows the athlete best.
Yeah.
And between the three of them, they came up with the fact that 120 was not the right number for him to open at today, that they can bring it down.
So Easley's moved up to 121 here, which means that we have our rock star back. So we've got two completed athletes, Fedakovsky from Kosovo with a best lift of 95 kilos in the snatch, and Cook from Nauru, who's in the 89 kilo class, 115 kilos. But we're watching now Bakaruavalu from Fiji, 120 kilos on the bar, successful at his first two lifts at 110 and 115. So this his third lift in the snatch in the men's 89 kilogram Group B. That's the happiest he's looked at a three, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny because after he cleaned it, his eyes weren't on his focus spot. His eyes were in the crowd. And I thought when he saw people jumping off their chairs to cheer for him, I thought that might be a distraction, but no, it just prompted the smile and the finish.
We'll have to check that out. Maybe it was Mum he was looking at.
Maybe it was.
Don't let Mum down. He was good. He had to work harder than the other two lifts with that, but he still was very good.
And now, joy. Pure joy.
Yeah, and it's really the first time. I mean, there's a lot of pressure here for him, but at the end of that lift, he genuinely smiled and looked genuinely relaxed, didn't he? So hopefully that augurs well for him going into the clean and jerk. Back live now with William Easley, 121 kilograms. His second lift in the snatch, his first attempt at this weight.
American coach is asking for quiet.
That looked much better, didn't it?
It did. It did. So whatever it was that made them think that they should go down a little in the back room, whatever it is, it's resolved, and they're moving in the direction they want to go.
Yeah, we'll see on the replay here that he gets the bar nice and high.
Yeah, keeps it tight all the way through, bounce off the hips. A little bit of a step forward, but that's nothing to concern yourself with. Not like the duck walk from the previous one.
No. So, seeing for the first time today, one of our Danish lifters, Christian Holm, and he will make his first lift in the men's snatch. He's in the 89 kilogram class, because the 81 kilogram and 89 kilogram Group B's lifting together. 122 kilos on the bar here.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, that was very authoritative, wasn't it? Didn't even really require much of a squat, did he?
No, and walking off very purposefully. Just nothing to this. What's next? Coach, tell me what's next.
Well, he's listed to lift next, but I'm sure he'll take a move up in the weight there. He's currently listed at the automatic 1 kilo, but we have Kang from Korea, Shishido, and Itila Opoloje, Jack Opoloje from Samoa, all around the 25, 26 mark. So.
And it's interesting, if you look at the scoreboard, which we can see here, 9 lifts have been completed in the 89 kilo portion, where in the 81 kilo portion so far, we've only seen 3 attempts. Usually it would be the other way around with a mixed session, with the lighter athletes opening first and getting progressing through before you start to see the heavier athletes.
So why do we think that is? Does that mean there's just a generally higher standard maybe in this 81 kilo across the A and B section?
It all depends on who enters from around the world, but obviously the 89 kilo athletes that are below the line, separation between the A and the B, just happen to be not, it says the 81's tighter all the way through, except for the Kosovo athlete, obviously, but it says that the 81s are more tightly bunched for whatever reason, and just the 89 kilo athletes, there's a wider variation.
So we're getting at the first of our 81 kilogram athletes after the Kosovan, Petrovsky, who's completed in the snatch, although Kang has moved up to 130 kilos, which puts the lift back with William Easley. So we see Easley here. He's gone up from 118, which was lower than his initial entry point, because he's had successful lifts at 108 and 121, and then up 4 kilos this time, Richard. So,
well, they keep looking better. The first one with the duck walk was a little interesting. The second one looked better. So if you can make that transition, and a 3 kilo jump is good for him, let's try a 4 kilo jump.
So Easley, after this lift, will be the third of our athletes in the 89 kilo to complete. So this is his third attempt. The men's snatch. He has 125 kilos on the bar.
Not this time.
Nope.
You could immediately see that his right elbow, he doesn't catch it with a full lockout.
Yeah, we'll see from the front on replay. If we can get that here, will probably give us a better indication of what happened with that right elbow.
Yeah, it was even at his the absolute bottom of his bottom position, you'll see that he catches it, and that elbow bends and rebounds before he stands up.
The noise you can hear in the background there as we watch the end of that replay of Easley, and back live now is Opoloje from Samoa, part of a weightlifting dynasty is the only way you could describe it.
Yeah, the Opolonge family has been lifting heavyweights for a long time, including sisters and brothers.
So that was his first attempt at 126 kilos, and that was unsuccessful.
Coaches will send him back. You can see Jerry, his coach, was having a chat with him, Jerry Walwick.
So he's another athlete who has moved up through the weight classes. Initially started way back in the 62 kilo class, Opoloje. There's a long, long history. Pacific Games winners, Usila, Tavia, also Pacific Mini Games winner, 105 plus kilo class.
And he's coming back up right away.
Yeah, well, that's a good sign. He knows what he needs to do for this. So Opoloje, 126 kilos, second lift in the snatch, second attempt at this weight. Crowd like it.
That's a good lift for Samoa.
The judges like it, 3 white lights, so he's on the board. 176 kilos. He is the second of our 81 kilo Group B lifters.
And as you can see there, that that little bench where the athletes wait for their next attempt tends to bunch up once we've got many athletes going. Absolutely nothing to that for him today, and it's starting to get busy back there. We've got a beehive going.
So I've got another of the lifters in the 81 kilogram category. This is Kang from Korea, and he will take his first lift at 127 kilos. Also wearing glasses like our athlete from Fedakovsky from Kosovo.
Yes.
You see too many of the athletes wear the glasses out.
There are athletes that will wear a hat, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's fine as long as you don't knock it off and step on it with the serious weight overhead.
Just trying to work out how peak of a baseball cap would work with that, but no such concerns here for Kang. 127 kilos, first lift in the snatch.
Did not look easy. It looked like it was a significant weight for him, and that's his opener. But it's successful. It's in the books. There's no style points. Looks like the loaders are taking care of an issue there. Took a couple of steps forward with it, but that did not look as easy as many of the other athletes we have seen with their opening attempts.
I'm wondering if there's some issue with the bar as we wait for Japanese athlete, another in the 81 category. This is Shishido
Well, based
from
on
Japan.
what I can see from what the loaders are doing, it looks like it was probably a broken blister or something on the athlete's hand because they're decontaminating. They're using a little bit of bleach to clean up that corner of the bar. So just making sure that there's no contaminants for the next athlete.
Well, for better or worse, that buys Shishido a few extra seconds there. Probably not the time he would have needed it, being his first attempt in the snatch.
But you can't plan for that for the next athlete. So
No.
they'll take it where you can get it.
So another one of our 81 kilo category Group B athletes, Shishido from Japan, 129 kilos.
Study in contrast. That was his opener. It looked easy. Kang's opener at the same or at a very similar weight did not look that easy.
Yep, so Shishido is on the board with a lift of 128 kilograms. We have Christian Holm listed next from Denmark as we see this replay.
Yeah, a bit of a step forward, but that's not a problem at all.
Didn't even really require the full squat, did he, to get up?
Nope. And we'll see just exactly if that's his style or if he goes lower as the weight gets heavier.
So big jump here for Holm from Denmark. He's got 128 kilos on the bar. That's up from his first successful lift, which was 122 kilos.
And his first one did look easy, so. That didn't look any harder.
No, that looked super easy, didn't it?
It did. He is walking around with a little bit of confidence now after those two successful attempts.
Yeah, he's got to be very, very happy with both of those lifts.
We'll get a second look at this one, I think.
See the heavy tape on his left shoulder there. Doesn't seem to be bothering at all.
You know, I don't know a lot about kinesio tape. I don't know how taping the outside of a shoulder can help. For some athletes, I think it's in their head. Some athletes, I'm sure it does help. But in his case, I have no idea. It's just we have a little bit of a delay here for some reason. Oh, Holm is once again the athlete. He has they haven't made whatever change they need to make. He was successful at 128, so now he's on the clock for 129. The Japanese athlete knows he's going to make a change and is ready to go, but they have to wait for that to go through before they can let him up on the platform.
Yeah, the Hobbs moves up to 133 kilos, which brings the third last of our lifters. Still 3 lifters yet to complete a lift, and one of them here is Yu Nishida from Japan. He's in the 89 kilogram class. All of these athletes in the Group B. And Nishida has 130 k's on the bar for his open lift in the snatch.
This is what he declared early, so he's right on schedule according to his coaches. I'm not going to say wobble, but he held it in his top position a little longer than I thought he was before he stood up. So I'm not sure if there's a little bit of rocking going on back and forth. I thought he was going to stand up with that a little more quickly than he did.
If we can see the front replay here, we'll see sort of looks like he's going to lose it a little bit to the right, but then he corrects that quite well, doesn't he?
I didn't even see him move. I thought he was just, let's take a look a little slow motion here. So he catches it.
Just that slight movement to the right, and then he.
There you go. Yeah,
is up
there
and
is a little
under
bit of movement late. Yeah. It
didn't look quite as easy as his countrymen's at 128.
Now Kang on his first looked rough. Well, not rough. Didn't look easy, but was successful. Now he's up back on a 4-kilo increase.
You know, it's remarkable with the Korean athletes, apart from the fact that I think they all go to the same barber, they look remarkably similar in terms of their techniques.
Yeah, and that may be that the different countries do different things. Some have national training centers, some have coaches that, you train with your local coach. In this case, there is a lot of similarities, so they probably are all training together.
Kang at 131 kilograms, so maybe you did read that previous lift correctly, that it was a struggle for him.
That one looked more dynamic. It looked like he had more speed, but it didn't end up with as good a result.
We'll see here from the side replay.
Big jump forward after he loses the bar off the back.
So having lost the Fijian and the Nauruan athlete Cook, who've both completed their lifts in the snatch, the attention of the crowd understandably turns to the Samoan athlete. Opoloje. This is his third lift in the snatch, 131 kilos.
No. Not happy. Coach is waving him back. Forget about it. Let's work on the next one.
So what happened here?
Yeah, I think he got a little too much of a swing, and he was close. He almost was able to balance it out, but he couldn't, and lost it off the bat.
Now, pointing the bar there, I'm not surprised that happened. You see Opoloje stop the bar with his foot as it started to roll off the platform. So
now, one thing that a study of contrast here, the American coaches were trying to encourage the crowd to be quiet. I looked over at Kang's coach from Republic of Korea, and he was waving his arms in the air for support for his athlete.
Well, different athletes are going to get affected differently, aren't they, from the noise and the crowd and the atmosphere. And
yeah, some want to make sure that they harness the adrenaline and would love to live in a quiet, dark basement with nobody but the officials. And some athletes, the bigger the arena, the more rush they get, and if they can harness that correctly, it's a positive thing.
So we're back with Kang here. This will be his third lift and his second attempt at this weight, 131 kilos. He's men's 81 kilo Group B.
Wow. Again, did not look easy, but success.
Yeah. So that's a good comeback after a miss at that weight at 131 kilos in his second lift in the snatch, and he will complete this portion of the competition with a total of 131 kilograms, which I know there's no medals on the line in the B sections here, but that puts him in first place. I'd rather be in first place than last.
Exactly, and you can see there during the replay that it took him a while, even after he had the bar stabilized overhead, to fully extend, to fully stand up with his legs, because it was heavy for him. So this would be the second attempt of Shishido of Japan. Successful at 128 in his first in the 81 kilo Group B session, and now he's tackling 133 kilos.
So this is well above what he lifted at the Junior World Championships last year. But he's gone up in weight from the 77 kilo class. So his second lift and first attempt at this weight.
Grabs his back after, but doesn't seem that he's in pain or anything. It's more... No, coach is smiling. He's not hurting anyway. Let's take a look at this from the side. Just not far back enough. He didn't catch it where he wanted to, and started to stand up in an effort to try and get it, but he just exacerbated the bad angle.
Yeah, once he started to push up, he just pushed that bar forward further, didn't he?
But now he's the next athlete up, and he's not sitting and relaxing. He's asking the coaches, can I go back right out? Like, no, relax, rest, and we'll let you go out.
So Shishido is our next listed athlete. This will be his third and final lift in the snatch. He's lifting in the men's 81 kilogram group. The 81 kilogram and 89 kilogram Group B athletes lifting together. Only 5 in the 81 kilo and 6 in the 89 kilo. And he bounces back onto the into the stadium, and
he didn't even sit down during his 2-minute clock.
No. So I certainly think he's got the sense that he doesn't have to do much more to get this.
No. There's confidence there. Looks a little harder than he expected it to be, but 3 white lights, he got it. So the result's what he was looking for.
Well, that's an improvement on his lift at the World Junior Championships last year. That was in the 77 kilo class though, so he's moved up the weight. But 127 last year, 133 this year. So he's certainly heading in the right direction with there as he gains weight and gets bigger.
He used a lot of the platform, but no problems. He brought it under control with a couple of centimeters to go before he even touched the red barrier.
And the other Japanese athlete is lifting in the 89 kilogram category, Shida. He has one successful lift at 130. This is second lift in the snatch. His first attempt at this weight, 134 kilos on the bar.
Nope. I don't know what went wrong there, and I don't know that he does yet. We'll get a second look at that.
We might be able to see this from the front. Might be easy to work out what happened.
Well, with the athlete on the clock, we'll have lots of time to consider.
It's again just that slight shift to the right. You noticed that in the first one, but he didn't seem to be able to correct it. Maybe if we see that from the side angle, if we have time, we might
yeah,
get
it looks like he caught it almost where he wanted to catch it. Let's see. Oh, okay, there was a little bit of a front back wobble there, and I think that just dislodged the bar from where he needed it to be, and couldn't bring it back.
So we just had a bit of bar cleaning happening, and we are getting the next to last of our 81 kilogram lifters. Bibin from Poland.
Well,
he's moved up.
Our two last debutantes of Tabitze and Bebin are both changing their weights, going up further, so that they want, I think, everybody else to be done before they make their debuts.
Well, and this will see Holm out, who's lifted very strongly through his first two lifts. So this is third lift in the snatch, and his first attempt at this weight, 135 kilograms. Big increase from his last lift, 7 kilos.
You know, it almost looked like he was up for it.
You know what, I think he was one of those athletes who actually wanted a bit of the crowd involvement. I saw a couple of the loaders actually waving their arms, trying to get the crowd to make a bit of noise, and you see the way he turned to the crowd after that. I think he wanted a bit of that atmosphere then.
Yeah, some athletes want to interact. They know they get the energy from the crowd. Let's take a look, see what happens. It's really fast. He gets out of it really, I guess maybe too much of a swing to the back, and just ejected him out the front as the barbell went back.
Well, that ends Holmes' competition in the snatch, and he'll finish with 128 kilograms. And our last lifter in the 89 kilogram group is Nishida from Japan. He also has 135 kilograms on the bar.
And this will be the last in the 89B. Found the groove, no wobble, straight up. Good lift.
Yeah, if we see that replay from the side, I'm sure you'll be able to talk us through exactly what he was able to correct.
Yeah, you know what? It was, for whatever reason, I don't know where that wobble came from, but I'm sure we'll see here that he's got a good bar path start, kick off the hips, and catches it immediately where he needs to. And he knows it's there, so he can stand up right away. Takes a little bit of a step forward, but that's nothing to concern ourselves with.
I just noticed as he was leaving Nishida, he was drenched in what looked like sweat at the back. So I wonder whether he's just feeling the warmth a bit in here. As we watch Tabidze come out into the gymnasium for the first time, lifter from Georgia.
We've got two athletes remaining, both on their first attempt. So if things work out well, we'll go back and forth and back, and building up to well, the biggest lift of the day so far.
So Tabidze from Georgia, first lift in the snatch, 138 kilos on the bar.
Looked as an opener should look.
Yep.
No concern for the athlete, not too heavy. He's quick. He got the bar where he wanted it to go, and back in the room to get ready for more weight.
He's nicely under that, isn't he?
Very clean. Quick wipe down of the platform before we see our next lifter, who is going to debut. Right now the clock is on Tabidze.
It's getting a little bit of a head massage there. You talked about the rubbing of the ears. That looked like a bit of, kinesiology or something at the back there for Polish athlete Beben.
So he's opening at 138 kilos. Tabidze opened at 136. Once everything's ready, we're going to go back and forth.
So Beben, Poland, first lift, 138 kilos on the bar.
No. Right away, you could tell that he did not catch that with his elbows in the right position. His coach is holding his hands up and going, what? What happened there?
Well, we might be able to work out from the replay just exactly what did happen, but he certainly wasn't happy with it.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to figure it out. It all happened so quickly. Yeah, didn't get it far enough back, it looks like. It was in front of his ears. And I don't think that's where he's going to want to catch that.
We might have a look at the front-on replay here, and just hard to tell from this angle, but I wonder whether he got the right arm locked. Oh no, there was a bit of a bounce in that.
Yeah, I think he just didn't catch it as far back as he wanted to. And some people take a step to adjust, and in this case, his elbows made an adjustment.
That sort of lift show a good awareness there, because you clearly see a bit of a flex in the elbow there, so he probably knew that was going to be called a no lift. So he's really conserved a bit of energy there, hasn't he?
Yeah, and to a certain extent, that's why the referees give a red light the second they see a violation. So if the athlete doesn't waste effort or the potential of injury on a lift that they're not going to get anywhere.
Well, I think he was even quicker than the referees there, but they may not have called that, of course, but it did look like a little flex in that right elbow.
Oh, they would have called it. But his fast twitch may be a little quicker than their fast twitch.
Yeah, so he's going to have a second crack here at 138 kilos. His second lift in the snatch and his second attempt at this weight. Men's 81 kilo Group B.
There we go. Small adjustment, nothing to it. I bet you when we see where he catches it, when we get the side angle, hopefully you will see that he has caught it at or behind his ears this time. So, yeah. Just behind his ears is his comfort spot, and the previous one was just in front of his ears, and that was not where he could keep it.
And we saw the Polish coach there shrugging his shoulders, almost as if to say, well, why now, not the last one? But he may not have been able, from where he is, to see any concern that Beben might have had with that right elbow, if indeed that was the reason that he may be pulled out of the last lift.
So Beben's moved up. He's asking for a 5 kilo increase after that success, and now we've got that Tabidze up. We also on he's on a 4 kilo increase from his 136, and they're just preparing the bar for him at 140 kilos.
So he'll lift at 140 kilos. He's dead keen to get out there. The clock hasn't even started on him, and he's up on the platform. The loaders are still themselves on the platform.
Once they've called the athlete's name, they're allowed to go up, whether the bar is ready for them or not. Some like to prepare at the chalk stand a little longer. Some will wait at the bottom of the stairs until they can get a chance to head up.
So I'm just checking that the weights are nice and secure there. So he's got plenty of time up his sleeve here, Tabidze. 140 kilos, his second lift in the men's 81 kilo snatch, Group B.
Nope. Once again, I think we're going to see from the side angle, hopefully, that when he catches it, it is not in the place he needs it, which is different athletes. It's in different places. Some want to catch it well behind their ears. Some want to catch it a little bit behind their ears. But I bet you he's going to catch this right about his. Oh, no, it was just too much of a movement. There was too much front to back, and he couldn't stabilize it.
I noticed then that he started his lift right on the 30-second warning buzzer.
That can be a distraction as well. There is a buzzer that goes at 1:30 on a 2-minute clock and 30 as well on a 1-minute clock. And you know it's going to happen. Everybody's aware that at 30 seconds the buzzer's going to lift, but you're concentrating on so many things that sometimes athletes will start their lift at the 31-second mark and will be, you know, taken aback slightly when that very predictable buzzer goes when they're in the midst of their pull.
Yeah, it happened right as he started his lift then, so I wondered whether that may have distracted him or not, but he was also out very early, so, and he seemed to be a little concerned about the wobble of the plates on the left-hand side of the bar as he faces it, so all of those things can get in your head, can't they?
Yeah, he's probably got a million things on his mind, and right now he just needs one, which is up.
So Tabidze back for his final lift. This 2 more lifts remaining in the 81 kilogram Group B men's snatch. 140 kilos on the bar. 3rd lift, 2nd attempt at this weight.
He waited for the 30 to go by this time. It may have been just that simple.
It may have been. It may have been. Yeah.
Because clearly he was strong enough to make that weight.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to know what's going in an athlete's head, but I did notice last time it was just as the bar left the platform that the buzzer went.
And see, again, a hip push. That one is further back from his ears than the last one, even when it swung. So maybe that's his right spot.
Yeah. Well, a nice lift there to finish off for him. And he will finish with a total of 140 kilos. So no medals in these B section lifts, but currently he's the leader. Last lift in the men's snatch here, Patrick Beben from Poland. He has 143 kilos on the bar ahead of him.
Oh, that early buzzer means no lift, I'm sure. No lift.
So what did you pick up there?
I haven't yet. I would like to see that one again.
Well, remember, he did have that issue in the first lift with what we think was the right elbow.
From that angle, I cannot tell you.
Yeah, hard to tell. We'll be able to get the front on replay. That might give us a bit more of an indication.
Whatever it was, 2 of them saw it immediately. The third didn't see.
So Fedakovsky,
he's getting a slap on the shoulders from the Latvian coach. So help from yet another corner. I guess maybe the Danish coach is worried that their athlete is pretty close.
So Fedakovsky from Kosovo is the only competitor from Kosovo, I think, at this competition. This is his 2nd attempt at 109 kilos.
He's close on time. 10 seconds now. He's got
through that a little better, didn't he, that time?
Yeah, same problems. He hunched over and then a late push, but.
So no lift for Fedorovsky from Kosovo. He's Kosovo's sole representative here. So,
but he's nodding his head, so he knows what happened, and he knows what he's got to do for the next time. So a big push there. He's got it. Let's see where his feet go. You know, his front foot didn't go out as much as maybe it should, and his back foot didn't hold. Well, once that knee comes down, you're done.
So next athlete on the platform, one of the local favourites. Not quite the rock star, but Cook from Nauru.
And again, in his snatch portion, everything looked easy. So we vamped it up. We've put more weight on. Let's see how he does from the two-phase lift.
Yeah, he looked very strong in the snatch. He's got 130 kilos here, and he's quickly into it. And quite smoothly through the lower portion there.
This may be his day.
Yeah, he's lifting well so far. 4 from 4.
No concerns at all. He's, again, like you said, he was into it quick. And very little hesitation between the clean and the jerk, because everything was where he needed it to be, and it felt good. Let's see. Stands up with it quickly. Catches half a breath. And his feet exactly where he wanted them to be.
Yeah, and just no little steps in either part of that lift to balance himself, so he's looking very good. I mean, I know there are different, as we wait for the Fijian athletes, Bakaruvalu, there are different approaches the athletes have, but the fact that he's addressing the bar Cook so quickly means he feels very comfortable going there, doesn't he? Yeah, whether it's the right approach or not, you know, it's the coach's job to manage the expectation there of when you should go, whether you should hold back, whether you should, and in his case, no problem. So I think there's no blinders on. He's just going to run. So Bakaruvalu from Fiji, 19-year-old lifter from Fiji, certainly a crowd favourite here with the strong crowd, school children from the local Suva area in. Wraps up his wrist, dresses the bar, 135 kilos on it, his first attempt, clean and jerk. Very solid lift.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I will say it was an opener, and it didn't look as maybe easy as some of the other openers we've seen. So we'll see just exactly how much he can add on and continue to maintain his success.
Nicely balanced, doesn't need to step forward, or slightly, couple little steps there.
Yeah, nothing major, nothing to even concern yourself with.
Took his time.
A little bit of a rotation, but nothing to worry about. And there you go, first lift is in the books.
Well, if you remember back to his first snatch, we wondered whether the crowd might be getting, he looked a little anxious, a little stressed, and seemed to relax a little bit as he went along. So it'll be interesting to see with his next lifts whether that same feeling translates into his lifts.
I'd expect that we'll see a similar progression. Now Cook is back up on the clock. Cook's asked for 7 kilos more, and that's a pretty big jump. But again, everything's looked easy to him, so maybe the coaches are thinking this is his day. This is where we're going to go for it. Let's give you a challenge.
Well, and it's the same weight that he jumped up in the snatch. He went from 103 to 110. So Maybe he started on the conservative side here, but he's going to have to move pretty quickly. He's very quickly into it. He's only got 7 seconds left. 6
It's like
seconds.
a James Bond movie here. 3, 2. Nope, that is going to be a no lift.
It's going to be the right elbow there.
Yeah. All three members of the referee corps saw the same thing, and that is a no lift for Cook.
Well, it's hard not to conclude that that was perhaps because he was a bit rushed getting out there.
It could be. It's impossible to know, but yeah, that is the overwhelming factor that appears at least on the outside. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to see that one again.
We'll hopefully see both the side-on replay and the front-on replay to get an idea of what the judges were saying.
We should have time.
So here we see the front-on replay first.
He's good through the clean.
Yeah, he doesn't go very low there, does he?
No, he doesn't, but he hasn't necessarily had to either. And now we're going to watch the elbows. Yep, and there's the rebound.
Yep.
He might have got away with it because there was a bounce there and it appeared that he was almost completely extended. Now, if he would have completely stood up, the referees might have gone, is that his full extension or not? But then he made the correction, which makes it easier to hold, but it also makes it easier to see that he did have a breast out.
Yeah. Yeah, much harder to pick up from this angle, but we could clearly see that from the front, the slight flexing of the elbows. So he's coming out, he's giving himself a little more time to prepare here, so we'll see if that makes a difference.
It solves one of the variables, that's for sure.
Yeah, he doesn't have to rush. He only had 7 seconds literally when he got his hands on the bar.
Yeah, and I think it went up at about 2, didn't it?
Yeah. As you say, it was like a countdown in a James Bond movie, wasn't it? The red wire, the green wire, the red wire, the green wire. So Cook with 137 kilos here. Third attempt. Again, he's quickly into it.
They're going to like that one better.
He still did have a slight flexion there, didn't he?
There you go.
One of them didn't like it, yeah. Be interesting to see if the jury gets involved here.
Yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on that table to see if they feel that it's a situation where they should intervene. Nope, they've
be able to see that on the front on replay here, I think.
Yeah, the jury has cleared the box. They were thought that at least in a majority that they thought that the referees had made the right call. Again, no dispute that it's a good lift through the clean. Yeah, I didn't see the problem.
There's a bit of a...
Yeah, but I think that was bounce, and bounce is different than a press.
Back live here with Vakaruavalu. That's the noise that you hear in the stadium here for the local Fiji lifter. He's making his second attempt in the clean and jerk. First at this weight, 140 kilos on the bar.
Similar to his first, did not make it look easy, but again, similar to his first, it was successful with all 3 white lights.
He's run off the stage there and into the players area. I assume that's because he probably knows he might have to back up on that lift.
Yeah, and he wants to get, the coach wants to get him sitting and resting his legs as much as they can before they head him, turn him around and send him right back out. That's a big step from the front, but it worked for him.
And again, as you noted in his previous lift, just that slight oscillation of the bar there, slight turning.
Usually an athlete's front foot comes forward about 1/3 and their back forward comes back 2/3. In that case, the front foot came forward 2/3 as well, but it worked.
Okay, so Vakaruravalu has moved up to 145 here. That won't affect any of the other lifters. The next scheduled lifter to come in is the Dane, Holm, and his entry weight is 147 kilos. So whether that remains at 147 kilos or not, we'll see. He looks quite strong through his first 2 snatches. So
he did. He also, I saw him run past our control position here a little while ago, and I saw him run back. And the only thing I noticed that was different was he had his belt in his hand. So maybe he had left something in the gym bag that he was going to require. But he did, in Holmes' case, he was originally scheduled to open at 149. So they've moved it down. Maybe concerned about the belt. I doubt that. But so 147 looks like the number he will take. And as you can tell, we've got another athlete between him and now.
So the hopes and support of this very vocal Fiji crowd at the Junior World Weightlifting Championships, coming to you from Suva here, the capital of the beautiful islands of Fiji. And the local hero, Vakaruravalu, Timothy Vakaruravalu, 145 kilos in the bar. His final lift in the clean and jerk, final lift in this competition. No damage done there.
No, he'll shake that off. He knows that he gave everything he could. Success in 5 out of his 6 attempts, and that one wasn't easy. But boy, he got the clean, and just didn't do it.
He had to work really hard through that clean, as we'll see here in the replay. He was up, and then he was down, and he was back out of it from very deep.
You can bounce as many times as you need to at the bottom there. All that matters is that you get the full extension of the legs before you start the next phase of the lift. And the jerk is just didn't get his arms locked, it looks like.
Yeah, he couldn't get that up quite high enough to get under it, could he? And now we're with Holm from Denmark, who's sticking with the 147. Looked
like
pretty good in the snatch, looked strong, didn't he?
And I like his belt.
He's got the power jerk, so he seemed holding the shoulder very quickly after that. So.
And now he's added the t-shirt. Was that the athlete that had the tape on the shoulder, the kinesio tape on that shoulder?
Yeah, he's popped the skins on underneath there, so
okay.
Shaking that left arm. So we're getting a bit of a clearer indication as to what that tape was all about.
So he's good there. You know, he unorthodox style here. Oh, too much. He didn't get too much of a dip when he tried to catch it, and not using a split jerk. It's a different technique. The doctor from Georgia there is over there talking to them, seeing if they need any assistance.
Yeah, he doesn't look 100% comfortable with that shoulder, does he? So it's just a matter of assessing whether he can do more damage to it with the lift or it's manageable.
And nobody wants to, as much as it is a great thing to come out and get a total at World Juniors, and he's traveled a long way to do it, risking injury, unnecessarily risking injury is not a good plan.
Bit of ice on the back of the neck and the forehead here. It is very, very warm in the National Gymnasium here. And Holm, he'll have to see this pretty much through, unless if he goes clean in this lift, he might be able to bump the weight up to bring William easily into the next lifter. But This is what's before him, 147 kilos, lifting in the 89 kilo Group B. Second attempt at this weight.
Wow, easy through the clean. A completely different style on the jerk.
Yeah, he changed his technique.
Completely. The first one, he essentially kept his, just did a straight drop, kept his legs on the same plane, and this time he went with a traditional split jerk, and success. You do not see that very often, an athlete changing their technique wholesale at a world championship.
Yeah, so he's gone from completely, and interestingly, left foot forward, whereas I would suggest the majority of the athletes I've seen are right foot forward.
Maybe, yeah, it's usually your dominant foot, and in this case, maybe he may be left-handed.
Yeah.
But I'm in shock that he actually changed his technique completely.
Well, it worked for him, and we see William Easley there, no pun intended, but just easing his way into this lift. Looks very relaxed.
Surrounded by his coaching staff. They've put 150 on the bar. They haven't put 150 on the bar. They need to put 150 on the bar.
Yeah, so not that he needs it with his first lift, but he's bought a little more time to either relax into it or possibly build up his nerves here. We see one of the Japanese lifters in the background there. So they're obviously preparing to come in. I suspect that's Shishido, who's listed at 155.
And again, this is one of these situations where everything bunches up. And that means it also bunches up in the athlete's area as everybody's trying to be next and get out there and lift.
So we're with Easley here, 150 kilos on the bar. This is his first lift in the clean and jerk section. He's lifting in the 89 kilogram Group B.
Smooth through the clean. Nope. Once again, it's going to be the right elbow that gets him into trouble.
Yeah, well, that's what got him into trouble with the last of his snatch attempts, isn't it?
So we don't even, the referees are caught it immediately. The jury members are agreeing with it, and we'll watch it again here. You can't, we're not necessarily going to be able to tell here from this angle, but the clean's fine. He gets there, and yeah.
See wobble just behind his head, but if we can get the front angle there, we can probably see it here.
Here it is, full screen. His eyes dart to the left just to check, dart to the right just to check the clock. Okay, the clean's fine once again. And yeah. Those were not, that bar was not caught with his elbows locked and fully extended.
So Easley will have to go back and think about that minor technical adjustment. He is our next listed lifter here. We would expect to see him as the next lifter. And he looks pretty relaxed.
And as we talked about earlier, we're 9 lifts in on the 89 kilo Group B athletes, and still only 3 lifts in on the 81 kilo group athletes, and there's more in the 81 kilo group than there is in the lower section of the scoreboard with the 89 kilo athletes.
Yeah, so easily the 4th of our athletes in the 89 kilo group to lift. We've only had 1 in the 81 kilo. And he addresses the bar now. 150 kilos on it. His second attempt at this weight. Men's clean and jerk, 89 kilos.
No problem with the clean once again. That was better and good enough.
Still a bit of a wobble in the left arm that time, wasn't there? But
I
not a
wasn't,
press.
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was his elbow or if it was a shoulder movement or if it was just bounce. But
We can see the front
detected.
on replay here. We might be able to detect what goes on there. This would be hard to pick up from the side, but
once again, the clean is fine. Let's watch his feet, see where they go. Yeah, 1/3 forward, 2/3 back. Brings the front foot back first, keeping it behind his ears, and a good lift.
You see the front, we might be able to just detect whether there was a little wobble in those elbows, but nothing that bothered the referee.
And again, there's no such thing as a little press out. It's a press out or if it's not. So let's see, here comes the jerk. Yeah, no, I think that was solid. It looked, honestly, I think the movement was just, he moved a little bit forward, and it may have looked like it was some elbow movement, but I think it was towards us more than an extension of the elbow.
Well, the referee certainly liked it, and
the jury didn't.
Expert referee here, experienced referee yourself, you were happy enough with that?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was definitely.
So we're now actually moving into the second of the 81-kilogram athletes. Apologe from Samoa, and he'll start at 154.
A mixed bag from him in the snatch with one success, 126. And again, the lift's a little wild, but no problem on that second one. I'm not going to say the best lift you've seen from him all day, but pretty darn close if it isn't.
Well, he's on the board, and that's significant because he's now posted a total, and it's what all of the athletes are really ultimately aiming to do here.
Off his hips. Pretty close on the elbows and the knees, but there is enough, there's visual separation, so he's good. Half a step forward there to make sure that he had balance. Good split. Interesting that he only moved his back foot forward and didn't move his front foot back. Usually it's a front foot back, then back foot forward to try and get your balance, but it worked, so can't argue success.
My next athlete here is Shishido. He's also in the 81-kilogram Group B. He's got 155 kilos on the bar, so just one up from Opologe. He just ran out of real estate there, really, didn't he?
Yeah, his foot dangled over the side, and he was still good at that point. But he, once he dropped the bar off the platform, first he was dropping it, but then once it dropped off the platform, that's an automatic no lift. He must replace the bar on the platform. So let's see here. He's pretty good. Again, it's not as far back behind his ears as he probably wants it, and he's trying to get it back. He's dangling over, which is still fine, but I think when his foot dangled over, it impacted his balance, ultimately making him have to put it down.
So what's going through your mind as the central referee here when you've got a guy with 155 kilos on a bar above his head, basically marching towards you?
Well, I can tell you a couple of things. That ZKC barrier there, that black barrier, is very firmly screwed down. The reason I know that is because I checked. That's the first thought that crosses your mind. The second thing is if it bounces off the corner of that 4-meter platform, that barrier may not have an impact anyway because it will be bouncing.
Yeah.
There's many situations where at the end of the meet you'll look at at the barbell will come bouncing over top of that barrier and will land on your table. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. All you can do is bail out.
Have you ever been in that situation?
I have, and I must confess, I was the center referee at a Canadian National, and we had a super heavyweight athlete, and he was marching toward me as fast as he could, trying to get it under control. He stopped, and we were good, but I've had to try and stop it before, but it turned out it was a no lift, but I didn't see it because I was too busy scared for my life watching his feet before I even looked at his elbows.
Well, we got Shishido, who with 155 kilos, so
that's enough. That'll do damage.
Let's see if he can keep this on the platform. Much better, despite a couple of nervous steps forward, and he gets 3 white lights, so everyone's safe there. Lifter's happy, referees are intact.
He didn't look that happy. He should be happy. It was a good lift. It was a good recovery.
No, I had the sense that that was more disappointment in his first one.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, he looked good there. Just a couple of steps forward, I think you'll see here. No, it was very solid there.
Yeah, brings the front foot back. He brought the front foot back maybe a little quick, but nothing you can't recover from easily. And even yesterday we had a bar come off sideways off the platform during one of C.J. Cummings' lift. And as the announcer, I had to jump up and try and stop it from rolling off the platform because there's no barrier over on the sides.
I noticed you moved very quickly there, so hopefully we won't have that problem with Christian Holm, 155 kilos as well. This is his 3rd and final attempt. Nope.
Good clean, but not enough push on the jerk. It looked like he shorted out on the dip. Maybe he was trying to remember which jerk style he was going with this time.
Well, you could forgive him for that.
Without doubt.
I went with the power jerk in the first one and then the split in the second one. So he's been successful at 147 kilos and has now posted a total of 275.
Yeah, easy looking clean. It also was in front. It also was ahead of his ears, so that could have been the issue.
So easily here.
This will be his 3rd and final.
Yeah. So he was successful but overruled. Well, he got the weight up but was overruled on his first attempt at 150 and then was successful on the second. He's got 155 here. William Easley from the US.
His arms weren't perfect, but they were perfect enough. I think you can see. Oh,
yeah, one of them didn't like it, so we'll see if the jury gets involved here.
No, the jury won't get involved.
No.
They, I think they're split as well. I'm not positive, but they're. It looks like there's going to be no jury involvement.
No, so that ends William Easley's contribution to this competition here, the World Junior Weightlifting Championships, and he bows out with a total of 276 kilograms.
I think you'll be happy with that going forward. Get a chance to watch the A-session athletes and see how they shape up against the number that he already has.
So back live here, we've got Opoloje, 159 kilos from Samoa. He was successful at his first clean and jerk. This his first attempt at this weight. No lift?
No. And again, it seems to be right elbows. I don't know why it's right elbows, but it seems that I'm seeing more problems on the right-hand side of these athletes than I am on the left. And that just could be a complete coincidence.
If we can get the front on replay here, we might see that.
We'll start with the side.
Yep.
The clean. Good kick through the hips. Keeps a pretty tight bar path. takes it for a walk, but by this point he's already got the down signal and knows that there's no point in trying to bring everything into parallel. Here we go, nose on. Once again, no violations or anything to concern yourself through the clean. Oh yeah. Actually, it was from both sides that time.
Yeah, it was both, yeah. I was looking at his left eye to the left elbow.
Ah, and I was watching the right.
Yeah,
We should have consulted. We would both been right.
We were perfect.
He's had a little bit of time, and he's coming out again early in his clock, so that's a sign of confidence, I think.
Yeah, so we've still got 159 kilos on the bar here for Loj. He's one of our 81 kilogram athletes. This lift, successful or not, we'll see him complete competition. I think he'd like this. That'd be 3 and 3, wouldn't it, for the competition? You'd like to get at least 50% of your lifts.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Very quiet crowd.
Not anymore.
Solid.
Yeah, he got the arms up there, didn't he? Very
His
quickly.
arms were locked out tight as an oil drum.
So that'll give him something really positive to walk away with after 2 misses in the snatch, to go 2 and 1 in the clean and jerk, and really only a kind of minor technical correction there. That
Yeah, and he knows what it was, so it'll be an easy, such an easy fix that he could figure it out in 59 seconds before he came back out for the next one.
And of course we could do it easily sitting here. It's very
of course.
easy for us.
Oh, this chair is the best place to.
Yeah. No, they're all working very hard, the athletes, and we owe them a great debt for the efforts they're putting in and the entertainment they're providing to this fantastic crowd here at Fiji's National Gymnasium, full of school children from the local schools in Suva, and they're getting right behind all of the athletes, not just the local athletes here. We've got Nishida, one of our 89 kilogram athletes from Japan. This is his first lift in the clean and jerk at 160 kilos.
There's an efficiency in that movement that you don't see in Opalonga. Opalonga is a taller athlete, and there's more variance of movement. Very clean, very direct bar path, and lift is done.
We'll see on the replay here, he had a very kind of shallow, doesn't really get right down to the bottom there, does he?
No, he's gone far enough though. Quick dip, not even a big dip, but a quick dip, and to full extension.
Yep, very efficient. Now we'll get to got Shishido, and we've got 160 kilos on the bar as well here. Third attempt. First attempt at this weight though.
Again, not the happiest look on his face, but he's done his job. He came here and clean and jerked 160 kilos.
Yeah, and you notice again as he left the platform there that he held his back, and wonder whether he's just got a little bit of discomfort there, but he looks happy enough.
Now that it's over, it looks like he's okay with the overall result. Good clean, very efficient movement, not a lot of variance, and a snappy jerk. You can see him moving a little bit back and forth, but under control and good. Now this is an earlier debut than we saw of Tabidze from Georgia. He's lifting with the still 4 athletes on the board, where in the snatch portion of the session, he was one of the last 2.
Yeah. Beben from Poland and Tabidze didn't actually, as you say, enter the competition in the snatch until everyone else was complete. And most notably, all of the 89 kilogram athletes were complete. We still have 4 athletes with lifts remaining. This is Tabidze's first lift in the clean and jerk, and he's starting at 165 kilos. He's the 81 kilo Group B. Using the power jerk there.
Apparently he didn't want to spend that much time out on the platform. He wanted to get that one done as quickly as possible so he could work on the next one. Holy, that was fast.
Yeah, he did move very quickly through that, didn't he?
Yeah, he cleaned it quickly, very little hesitation, and then dropped right under it for the jerk.
One bounce.
Yep.
I'm happy, and there's a way into that power jerk position that we see more and more from the Eastern European countries in particular, don't we?
Yeah, and some Americans are adopting it as well. Again, there's less movement, so that means less variables, but also I think the thought is that there's less potential from a traditional jerk position. So if you're having trouble with losing lifts, you might want to change it up a little bit and take a couple of the variables out of it and see if you can have great success the other way.
So Kang now with 165 kilograms for him. This is his first lift in the competition as well. He's in the 81 kilo class. So we're going to have a 3-way battle here between Kang, Beben and Tabidze in the 81 kilo class.
Nope.
Not to be. 3 red lights.
Doesn't look like he wants to answer to his coach after that one. Okay, let's see what we have here. Solid clean. A little bit too much of a bounce there, but that's okay, as long as he brings it back dead. And then, oh, you know what? I think he had it. I just think that when he decided to bring his legs back together, he either went a little too quickly or took too big of a bite at that apple. And maybe he should have gone with slightly smaller steps to try and bring it back in, because that's where he lost it completely.
Well, we'll see if he can learn from that, because at this stage, Beben's moved up to 168 kilos, as has Ishida from Japan. Tabidze's moved up to 172 kilos, so that's a sizable jump there, 7 kilos. And so the lift is still with Kang, and he's at the moment running the clock down, getting the customary assault before he goes back into the stadium. There must be someone whose job it is just to kind of slap the lifters on the back and the thighs before they go out.
I'd love to know how that started.
Yes. I'd love to know if it has any effect at all, other than helping the person who maybe does it feel better. So Kang, his second attempt at this weight of 165 kilo, snatched 131.
Using a lot of this clock. He's 12 seconds left. Could there be a photocopy of 2 lifts that look near identical, at least from this one perspective?
Might see if we can get the front on perspective here, just to be able to have a look at what happened there.
Okay, let's take a look. Here's the side perspective
side.
first.
You'd be happier to that point, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
As the coach.
Oh no, he lost it before he started to move his feet this time. The last one he had it, and when he started to move his feet is where he lost it just behind his head. In this case, he lost it in the exact same place, but he hadn't moved his feet yet.
So what can he do differently now? Because he obviously tried to adjust for that.
That's the problem, is I don't think he knows.
He didn't really get the arms locked all that convincingly either there, did he? So
no. And his coaches seemed baffled by the first one, so I'm not sure that they have much more data after that second one either.
Well, and of course it's much easier for us being able to watch through multiple replays here and analyse it from a couple of different angles. The coaches, they can watch the scoreboard here, I guess, but they're out the back trying to deal with the athlete and
they
his
also,
state of mind.
But they've also seen that athlete from 72 different angles, right? So hopefully just one is all they need to try and sort it out. And again, coach is encouraging the Fijian students to make some noise and support their athlete. Some like it, some don't, but in this case, Kang wants more noise.
Yeah, he very much looks like an athlete who needs the atmosphere to thrive on, so maybe the crowd get behind him in this lift. That will help him. This is his final lift in the clean and jerk. Without 2 failures at this weight.
Yeah, without success, he has no total. Well, whatever it is, they now have 3 versions to look at it on videotape when they get back home.
Yeah.
Here we go, the side angle.
Had no trouble with the clean, did he?
Not at all. You know, I don't know. I hate to think. Maybe he's got a bicep, like something seems to be in his arms that he can't hold it, even though it looks like his elbows are all locked out.
So back live here with Nishida. Bars at 167 kilos. He's lifting in the 89 kilo. It's the last of our 89 kilo lifters to complete here.
Right away you could tell that his jerk was not high enough for him to lock those arms out.
So he'll have to go back to the drawing board, and unless he moves up in the weights here, he will be the next lifter. So we'll see the side on replay here.
Incredible efficiency and movement. Nothing to it there. Yeah, it didn't get it high enough, and it looked like it was a little in front of his ears, and then he tried to adjust it a little bit back, and his arms weren't locked out, so it didn't matter.
See how high he gets it here or not. Yeah, you know, especially on that left side, he just never got the bar high enough to have a chance of locking the arm there, did he?
Well, I didn't think so either.
So we're still with Nishida. He's a minute and 20 seconds away from the completion of his part of these Junior World Weightlifting Championships.
And then we're down to our final 2, which were our final 2 in the snatch as well. The Georgian Tabice and the Polish athlete Bebin.
And Bebin hasn't even had a lift yet, so could be an interesting battle between the 2 of them.
And again, it's one of these sub battles, right? Because we've yet to see any of the athletes in the A group, but based on the comparison between the B group of the 81s and the B group of the 89s, the 81 kilo athletes may put up some numbers that get some consideration. Maybe put a little bit of extra sweat on the brows of the 81 kilo weight session athletes.
Yeah. So Nishida, 167 kilos on the bar. Second attempt at this weight and third lift in the snatch. Clean and jerk, sorry.
Not much difference, but it was just enough. So that shows you just exactly how close he was on the first one, that looked very similar. Similar economy of motion, similar everything. And it was a successful lift.
Yeah, so he finishes the competition there with a total of 302 in the 89 kilogram class. So that's the last of our 89 kilogram lifters. And Beben steps onto the platform from Poland for his first lift in the clean and jerk. And he's going to start at 168 kilos. 138 successfully in the snatch. This would give him a total of 304 kilos.
He's going to like those 3 white lights. There was movement there, but it looked like, to me like it was shoulders, not elbows. So he's good to go.
I noticed the central referee pointed very quickly when the bar hit the ground to the left-hand side, and you'll see in the replay here, if we can get the front-on replay at some point, the discs on the right-hand side of the bar just seem to be loose and wobble a bit. It's hard to pick up from this angle, but this referee at the front pointed immediately that bar hit the ground.
That's Takahiro Shimada from Japan is the center referee for this session.
So you see the movement there on those discs on the left?
Yeah.
I think he just felt that they weren't tightly enough secured.
And there have been situations, including the World Championships in Houston in 2015, where the collars were not attached firmly enough, and an athlete had the bar at overhead and was adjusting, and the weights fell off one side, prompting the barbell to go flying the other direction.
Yeah, that's got to be very, very dangerous.
No one was hurt. He got another attempt, but yeah, but it's not a good situation to be in.
So it's a battle of 2 now in the 81 kilogram B group. Just looking forward to some of these totals in the A group. You were talking about their capacity to move up. The lowest posted total, and doesn't mean that the lifters will lift this, is the Korean in the 81 kilogram A section of 325. So
wow.
They're still a little way off there.
Wow, there is still lots of capacity here then. For junior-aged athletes of this age under this body weight.
Yeah, and Tabic is only 17 years old. He turned 18 later this year, so he's got another 3 years at this level.
And again, this is one of the coaching staff that was encouraging the school children here from Fiji to support his athlete with their applause. Again, just like previously, there is no hesitation there.
No, he moves very quickly between the clean into the jerk, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's there's many athletes who will do that. Again, we talked about this, I think, on my day one with you, in that there's an opportunity to get momentum. He doesn't. Everything becomes motionless there. But if you do it correctly, you can benefit from the bounce, as they say.
So that puts his total up to 312. Now, I'm not sure what he'll move up to, but he clearly won't lift 173 next time. But he's starting to edge up into the bottom part of that A group now, isn't he, with a total of maybe around 315?
Yeah, and entry totals aren't aren't written in stone. It's what they expect that the athlete will lift, so that they can make a separation, but make sure that the athletes are lifting with like athletes. But that number can be essentially made up of whole cloth as long as the athlete has made the entry total. So there is to a certain extent, there's some positioning. Entry totals came in after they had situations where they had some athletes who would say that they could lift whatever they needed to, and ended up in A sessions on television that should not have been there. And then the second they got in, they lowered their totals. But now there's limits on how much you can lower your totals from your entry total to make sure that like athletes are lifting with like athletes.
Yeah, because that's what you want, an even competition, don't you? And we've certainly got a competition here between Tabice from Georgia and Bevan from Poland. This is Bevan's second lift. He was successful at 168. He's added 7 kilos to the bar here. And he's got 175 kilos in the bar. There's 3 more lifts remaining in the 81 kilo group.
This is ideal with 2 athletes going head to head here. It breeds success on both sides.
Oh. No, not that time.
Nope, no luck.
So we'll see the reaction of the Polish coach this time. He's been fairly animated a couple of times.
Yeah, he was quite animated in that 10-minute break after when the third snatch was turned down because of his elbow, and watching the video replay with the referees and jury members gathered around.
So we might be able to see a front-on replay of that last lift just while we're waiting for the next athlete. At the moment, it's with Bevan.
There we go, front on.
Tabice has moved up.
Now, it was too far front. It pushed his elbows down into his knees, and at that point, he was done.
So we see Tabice there preparing, but the official scoreboard here has him having moved up to 180. So that's another big jump for him, 8 kilos.
And Bevan may move as well. I can't imagine it, but he has the capacity to move. He still has changes available to him. So that's why Tabice is pretty much on the balls of his feet, close to the platform, in case that he has to get up there and lift before Bevan.
We see Bevan stride past him there very purposefully, and stride very purposefully up onto the stage and platform here. So good positive body language for him coming out as he addresses his final lift in this 81 kilos and 89 kilo Group B competition. He's in the 81 kilos and he has 175 of those on the bar. Bevan from Poland.
Nope. Once that bar reaches his knees, he is committed to that lift, and it just made it past his knees. If he lowers it before it hits his knees, he can bend down and do it again. But once it hits his knees, he's committed to it. Boom, yep. And no.
Right up to his waist. A lift like that, is that as much a psychological issue there?
100%.
Yeah.
Because we saw clearly just 2 minutes ago, he was capable of a clean that was, you know, far further along in his process than that one was. It's just his psychological at that moment, yes.
Okay, so we've got the final lifter of this competition. This has been the men's 81 kilo and 89 kilo, the B section. Tabice is the final lifter in the 81 kilogram section. He's got 180 kilos on the bar. He moves through this pretty quickly.
That seems to be his modus operandi. That's how he goes. So this will be quick. Quick to the clean, quick to the jerk. In this case, quick to the clean, and I'm having trouble focusing right now. I think I put it too far back on my clavicle, but he's off safely.
We saw him put the hand to the throat there, so you might be able to see from the side on just where the bar does end up.
Yeah.
Crashes into his top of his chest there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's a recipe for losing consciousness. But in his case, he bailed before it happened, so he was able to walk off under his own power with no long-term concerns.
So that brings us to the conclusion of this men's 81 kilogram Group B and men's 89 kilogram Group B. It's been a fantastic competition. Just briefly looking at the overall results, 312 kilos to beats A from Georgia, registered the highest total. He was followed by Bevan from Poland, and after that was Nishida from Japan. We'll take a short break now, and pretty soon after that we'll be back with the first of our medal rounds for today, which is the men's 81 kilogram A. You're watching the junior